I'm Larry Steinhouse, and welcome to Money Chat Now. Money Chat Now is a politically charged stock market pre-show giving you the politics of the day and the biggest moves in the stock market. It is presented with comedic common sense and just the right amount of sarcasm by an expert in financial literacy, and hey, that's me, Larry Steinhouse. Today is June 21st, and of course I want to welcome you to the show. We are here live on WWDB Radio, 860 AM in Philadelphia, and we are live on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, True Social, TikTok, and all those other social media sites by searching Larry Steinhouse. And just a reminder, if you're watching online, hit that like button, hit that share button, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and like the Money Chat Now page on Facebook. You can comment live during the show on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and please say hi so I know you're watching. A couple people saying hi already. We got Michael and Charles and Glenn, and let's see if I can make it through with my voice today. I can see it's going. And by the way, if you're commenting from a group and it's not the Money Chat Now fan page, your name will not show up on my dashboard, so please go to the Money Chat Now page and comment there so I can recognize you. Money Chat Now is brought to you by Investor Schooling, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday by going to investorschooling.com, and there you will learn about real estate investing and stock options trading from those who do it every day. I also want to remind you that today is Interview Tuesday. For our online audience, each Tuesday, we plan to bring you a great interview with interesting people and introduce you to their products, services, or just their good intentions. By the way, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can go to thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest. That's thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest. Tell us why you want to be interviewed, and we'll see what we can do. Today we have Nancy Swartz, who used to be a trained ballerina, and now she uses that skill to coach others to keep themselves peaceful. All right, so stay tuned if you're watching online for that interview. All right, so coming up, of course, we have the recap from Friday. We have the housing market, the real story, and we have possible gas tax pause. And then, of course, today's picks and plays. And then we'll see if my voice can handle it. If it can, great. If not, whatever. There'll be a lot of dead air. All right, let's talk about what happened on Friday. So the dead zone is almost over, and earnings season is around the corner. So it's time to get up the nerve to put the money in the market. So Friday, we ended up slightly down, and the Dow, but most of the stocks were up for the day, so it was pretty good. It was a normal pop and drop for the options ending that day. So for you guys who don't know, most normal options end the third week of the month, and that was Friday. That's mostly why you'll find a phenomenon that I often see in the third week of the month. The stocks go up midday, and then they drop off, and that's basically what happened on Friday. Of course, we have Juneteenth yesterday, and the market was closed. By the way, I did notice that through most of the day, the futures just kept getting higher and higher, and that can make us very happy today. Bitcoin, I don't know if you were watching this, but Bitcoin fell over the weekend to under 17,000, but recovered to over 20,000. Now, here's a question for you. What does Pet Rocks, Pogs, Pokemon cards, Beanie Babies, and cryptocurrencies have in common? And here's the answer. People thought they were worth a lot more than they were worth when they were popular. So it's a slim chance that the Bitcoin will hit 28,000 again, but I predict it's the top if it does. Next stop is 12,000, then 7,000, and from there it bounces around and probably goes to almost zero unless it stays in that range. I suspect it's going to bounce for a while as governments try to decide what to do with it. Eventually it will be a memory, though. I really believe that. On Friday, we did see the travel stocks start to move up a bit, and it might be a little too late for me, but yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Of course, I have one more month before my $17.50 strike price for CCL expires, completely worthless. Look, you never know. The stock could double between now and then, but it's highly unlikely. The words recession and inflation are being used in every sentence when you read reports on the market, and that's what's scaring the market into creating its own recession. So it'll be, like I said, a self-fulfilled prophecy. I would imagine that this quarter will have a negative GDP. Now, don't forget that it's 2 quarters in a row of negative GDP that makes it a recession. It's going to happen. Maybe this time or next, but it won't be serious. I said this the other day. It won't be serious. The next one will be serious, and that will be probably next year or the year after. The energy stocks also retreated last Friday. By the way, did you notice that gas prices are going down over the weekend? Yeah, me neither. But it did go down 1 cent across the national average. So if you had a 16-gallon tank, you saved a whopping 16 cents. Woo! Well, the futures are on fire this morning. They were on fire yesterday, too, and I'm looking forward to a good day. Remember, we're on the other side of the dead zone, and that means we should have a great market for the next 4 to 6 weeks. All right, let's take a quick look. Now, this is interesting because the futures on your screen say that they're up 222, but they're actually up higher than that because the company that we pull this from didn't add yesterday's futures to those numbers as well. So it's actually up about 500. So it's actually pretty good. Actually, the numbers that I have are the Dow is up 456, the S&P is up 62, and the NASDAQ is up 192. So it's actually a lot better data than I'm even showing there, which is fantastic. All right, let's get into something going on here. Let's get into the first story of the day, and that is the housing market. So I logged into my local MLS yesterday, and by the way, MLS stands for Multiple Listing Service, and this is the place where realtors and others like me can look up information on homes such as the price it's sold for and how the market is doing in general. So I have many investment properties, and yesterday I decided to do a little research on what they are worth. I expected a slight pullback, or at least not to have gone up as much as they did since the beginning of the year. But boy, was I wrong. I tell you, I had a rough idea on several of them, but I was off like 10 or 20% of their values. It's crazy. I also looked to see what the average days on the market are, and they're moving up slightly, and also inventory is also moving up slightly. But when these two numbers, like inventory and days on market, move up, the market starts to slow. But I have to say that it isn't high enough to make a dent yet. We also know that interest rates are rising, and that means some will be outpriced to the market because the monthly payment will be too high for them. We also see a recession on the horizon, so how could it be that the market isn't crashing yet? Well, I've said that we're going to have another 2008 in about 2 years, and that reference to 2008 is the entire market, not just the housing market. But will it really be as bad as it was then? So I was reading an article on CNBC, and they made some good points as to why the market will be different this time. Well, let's review their reasons, and let's see if we agree or disagree. First of all, the article starts off with the fact that regulations are tighter. So the author of the article states that there aren't as many or anywhere near as many risky mortgages like there were before. The next paragraph, however, she talks about the fact that many people had equity in their homes and either refinanced them or took out equity lines of credit. She also explained that most have over 20% equity still in the house. And that was, and by the way, she also had an interesting statistic that she also referenced that total mortgage debt in the United States is now less than 43% of current home values, which is the lowest on record. It's a helpful point, by the way. She also mentions that adjustable rate loans that were prevalent in the early 2000s and how most people have fixed rate loans currently. Well, let me give you my opinion on all of this. First of all, her facts are probably sound. Not like when Biden said the stock market is at its highest and people have more savings and less debt than ever. That was a moment in time. And it already shifted when he said it. But that's exactly what's happening now. I've seen more and more advertisements and mortgage brokers hawking adjustable rates. You know, just in case you missed out a few months ago at 3.5%, you could still get that, but beware because in 2, 3, or 5 years, that number can jump to more than double. You also have to be careful of negative amortization or interest-only loans, which are out there, right? This would cause your principal amount to either go up or stay the same after years of payments, you know, like the student loans do. All of these are coming, and we also have the forbearance of mortgage companies that ended a few months ago. Some of these companies are asking for full payments, full back payments, and others have worked a deal to add it to the back of the loan. The problem is that many people who had been living paycheck to paycheck before the scamdemic were freed of the burden of the loans, and now they must pay them back. And it's a shock to many homeowners. I look at it this way. You know, look, we have new loan programs being created every day, and most of them, although it's not as bad as 2005 to 2008, are still pretty bad ideas for homeowners. We have the forbearance that's ended, and we have people about to be laid off of work. This, to me, is a real problem. I saw the other housing downturns in the 90s that had nothing to do with easy lending. It all had to do with an economic shift like the one we're about to have. The last problem was the crazy influx of money the government gave to you and I and everyone else, and that's part of the inflation problem as well. Money from the government is now all dried up, and the repercussions of that money are starting to show. The economy is starting to crack, and other numbers are pointing to a slowdown. The good news is that we still have about 2 years before the real cracks start to show. The good news also is that it may be time to refinance or sell your properties for a great profit, and a great time to learn how to buy properties without any money out of your pocket. By the way, I did really well helping people when I took over their mortgages payments in the last decade, And that's going to be prevalent in the coming years. And by the way, if you want to learn this, see me at Investor Schooling. I'll help you learn it. Let's take a look at this commercial and you can find out more.
Okay, so you thought about buying and selling real estate. You've thought about investing in the stock market, but don't know where to start. Well, what if you could find a place to unlock strategies to master both real estate and the stock market, all without the headache? That place is Investor Schooling, hosted by Larry Steinhouse, an expert in real estate, financial literacy, and the ins and outs of the stock market. You can attend Investor Schooling in person or online 8 times a month. You can and will learn how to make money in real estate, and you will learn mastery of stock techniques such as options and covered calls. You will even get a chance to ask one of your burning questions to the stock options sultan, the master of picks and plays. Call 866-424-2829 for free information and receive a complimentary pass to attend classes, or register online at investorschooling.com. Don't delay. These passes are limited. So what are you waiting for? Call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. Or visit investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com.
Welcome back to Money Chat Now. I'm your host, Larry Steinhouse. And of course, if you'd like more information on Investor Schooling, you can go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829, 866-424-2829. Hey, I want to thank you all for listening on WWDB Radio 860 AM in Philadelphia. And if you're watching online, please hit that share button so you can help your friends learn about how to make more money. By the way, we got so many people online. Let me see if I can quickly run through and say hello to everybody. Michael, Charles, and Glenn, and Mary, and Victor, and Betsy, and Dave, and Mark, and Tom, another Tom, and Ken, and Moshe, and Joe, and Michael, and Lewis, and and there you go, one of my favorite real estate agents, Mark Cumberland. And Mark Cumberland also does a show, and he says the same thing. He said it's the best time to ever sell. So we definitely agree on that. By the way, hit the share button, let your friends know how to make more money. Hit the share button, and also hit the like button so I know you're enjoying the show. And don't forget to leave comments on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter, and I'll try to respond to them live. All right, so far we talked about yesterday's recap, and we also talked about the fact that right now the Dow is up 463, the S&P is up 62, and the NASDAQ is up 191. That is fantastic. I'm very happy about that. Okay. We also talked about, of course, the housing market, the real story, and I don't know, it's going to be bad. It may not be as bad as 2008, but it's going to be bad. I still believe that. We also have coming up possible gas tax pause, and of course we have today's picks and plays. But first, did you guys hit that like button? Come on, hit that share button. Don't forget to leave comments on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. And if you're listening on WWDB Radio, be sure and set a preset to the station and listen every day at 7:30. Also, look up Money Chat Now on Facebook when you get home, and let me know what you think of the show. All right, before we start the second half, by the way, I got a new book. I bet you didn't know that. I talk about it every day. All right, go to Money Hacks. Look up Money Hacks by Larry Steinhouse, and you can get a copy of this book. You can get it now on Kindle or Nook, and the physical book will be pre-ordered, and you'll probably have it in about 3 weeks. So I definitely recommend that you order it. It's a really good book. I've had a lot of good reviews on it. I also want to remind you that it's Interview Tuesday. For our online audience, each Tuesday we bring you a great interview with interesting people and introduce you to their products, their services, or just their good intentions. And of course, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can go to thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest. That's thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest. Let us know why you want to be interviewed. And today we have Nancy Swartz, and she was a trained ballerina, and now she uses that skill to coach others to keep peaceful. So stay tuned to that interview. It should be a good one. All right, let's get into the second half. Let's talk about gas tax pause. So apparently Democrats will do anything to be sneaky and underhanded. You know, like rigging an election. Well, let's not go there because, of course, I'll be thrown off YouTube again. This time the Democrats are devising an idea that would lower gas prices by about 18 cents by eliminating the federal gas tax. Wait a minute. The federal government is collecting tax on gas? Don't they already get taxes on the oil that's transported as well as the other sales taxes, and the oil flows through different hands? Well, of course they do. Damn government, they get their hand on everything. Well, anyway, Biden wants to drop the federal tax of about 18 cents from the pumps. That means your gas prices will go down about 18 cents. And before you even ask, well, how are they going to make up for the deficit? We've already seen this in the past year. Don't worry. That 18 cents will cost you at least $1 for each 18 cents in the future. But besides that, because most people think short term anyway, This tax holiday is, if it's passed, will start August, September, and end, guess when? November 1st. That's right, November, right before the midterm elections. Oh, please, this guy is such a tool. He only wants to lower the gas prices temporarily to get in good favor with the voters. Well, Biden, besides the fact that no one is buying this scheme, what happened when you released the emergency reserves? You remember that? You released the emergency reserves. We no longer have the emergency reserves that we had before. You lowered gas prices for about a week, and then not only did they go back up to the original price, but since then they went up $1. So not only will it be a virtual signaling gesture, but it won't work anyway. Now, let's check this out. There's this country called Florida, and they have this really cool thing called the Constitution, and it's really amazing. And they really take good care of their citizens in that country. And guess what their leader did about a month and a half ago? A month and a half ago. On May 6th, Governor Ron DeSantis signed a House bill, which was 7071, which provided more than $1.2 billion of tax relief for Floridians. The bill provides for 10 sales tax holidays for a variety of items commonly purchased by Florida families, including fuel, diapers, disaster supplies, and tools. Florida, because of how it handled the scamdemic, had the largest economy growth of any state in the nation and has a bunch of reserves. So because DeSantis treated the citizens with respect and adults, it paid off bigly for him and the state. This allows him to sign the bill and bring the relief to Floridians. Okay, I do have to say that he kind of snuck this one in there, and I'll bet this is where the Democrats came up with the idea, but check out the gas holiday rules. It's kind of disturbing. It's a 1-month fuel tax holiday from October 1st through October 31st, lowering the price of gas by 25.3 cents per gallon. Come on, DeSantis, don't be a big D. You know, a Democrat. But okay, it's still better than nothing, and it's 25 cents. And it may make a dent in the purchase of some. But anyway, here's a list of many other, including a 2-year tax relief on green appliances. No, not the color green. Remember when appliances were green all over the place? But the environment green. By the way, that's how you do green energy. Give people tax incentives to go green. You don't need to shove it down their throats. I wouldn't be surprised if many of the states who just let green ease in will be the higher percentage of green and efficient appliances and vehicles. He also dropped sales tax on school supplies, diapers, and many food items. The list is kind of pretty long. He even dropped some corporate taxes so more companies would, guess what, have incentive to move to Florida. You know, leave communist states like California. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to see if Biden can be as effective as DeSantis. After all, of course, running the country is as easy as riding a bike. Oh, wait, never mind. By the way, the memes on this are hysterical. If you haven't seen the Biden falling off his bike memes, you have to go back and take a look. It is hysterical. But then you also have to realize that him falling off his bike on camera isn't the most embarrassing thing that he's ever done since he's been called president. I'd laugh if it wasn't so serious. All right, anyway, I'll talk to you guys in about a minute. I'll see you in a few. Hi, I'm Larry Steinhouse, and I've written a book called Money Hacks. The subtitle to this book is Because Everything You Think You Know About Money is Wrong, and I promise you there are things you think about money that are wrong. There are chapters in this book that I think you will find absolutely fascinating, and some of them are, what is money anyway? Can money buy happiness? I'll bet you don't know the answer to that question. The truth about credit scores, how you can actually use credit cards to rebuild your credit. I also have chapters on being your own bank, how to buy houses with an IRA, and how to invest with other people's money. There are so many other chapters. There are 22 total chapters in this book, and I promise you're going to learn how to make more money and pay less taxes when you buy this book. My name is Larry Steinhouse. The name of the book is Money Hacks. You can get this book wherever fine books are sold, and you can go to barnesandnoble.com right now and pre-order it. I hope that you will enjoy it. Welcome back to Money Chat Now. I'm your host, Larry Steinhouse. By the way, have you guys ordered a book yet? If you're watching this show and you haven't ordered a book yet, I'm so disappointed. Order that book. Go to barnesandnoble.com, look up Money Hacks by Larry Steinhouse, and order it. All right, let's talk real quick about what's going on in the futures before we start. We've got the Dow is up 466, the S&P is up 62, and the Nasdaq is up 189. Hey, we talked about the housing market, the real story. I think it's going to be a problem. Some don't, some do, but I think it's going to be a problem. It may not be as bad as it was in 2008, but it's going to be a problem. All right, we also talked about a possible gas tax pause and how Biden might use that to get some votes for the midterms. I doubt it. I don't think it's going to work. I also don't think he's going to get it passed. I don't think he's got the power like DeSantis did. All right, coming up, of course, we have today's picks and plays. But first, did you guys hit that like button? Did you guys hit that share button? Come on, let everybody know what great stock plays are coming. Hit that share button. You could share it on your page, or you could share it in groups. And, of course, you can leave comments on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, or whatever one I missed. And Tommy is all over the place. He's loving it. He said he wants a Bigly MAGA hat. Oh, he's saying that Trump threw a Bigly MAGA hat at Poopy Pants and knocked him off the bike. That's pretty funny. All right. If you're listening on WWDB Radio, set one of your presets to this channel and listen every day at 7:30 for all you need to know about politics, behind the stock market, and how you can make more money and laugh a little bit about the state of the economy. All right, let's talk about what's going on today. And here we are. A great day is looking up so far. With the futures are up about 460 right now. That's not bad. And they were up over 500 at one point this morning. And it looks like it's going to be a good day. And remember last week when the futures were down 500 points and then the market closed down about 750 points, even though it went down as low as 1,000? Well, maybe we will get an opposite day today, and maybe the market will pop. Please, 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 please. All right, we have some good plays popping up today. Look, CCL is going to release its earnings report tomorrow, possibly tomorrow. I have noticed that CCL often has a date for earnings, and then they move it right before the scheduled date. So we'll have to see if it'll actually be their earnings date tomorrow. But if they release their earnings, they will probably have a great quarter. The question will be the guidance and how will the cost of fuel affect the company's spend rate. And also, are they also able to pass that on to the customer? I believe they are passing it on to the customer because I looked at the prices for cruises last week, and I saw that they're all up. So the guidance will be the key. If it's good, all of the travel stocks will also bounce. So watch that. So if you have any travel stock at all, if CCL goes up, everything's going to go up with it. I also like Meta. It's trading very low with a very low multiple. And it means to me that the stock is very underpriced. People are still advertising on Facebook, and I don't know about you, but I've noticed more ads lately on my feed. I've also noticed more targeted ads on my feed. So I know that Apple changed their algorithm, but I'm noticing that all of a sudden, they seem to be talking to me, the ads. I'm getting ads like, for Viagra and for hair loss, stuff like that. All right, Apple is another that often does well into earnings. Earnings season starts next week, and that will be the catalyst for the market. So watch this. Apple is also at a bargain. I think it's a really low price. So look for that to be a play. Google splits soon in July, and Amazon after the split dropped a bit, but I still like the covered call play on both of these into the future. Boeing is another that I follow, and I even though this company can't get a break, I still think it's the only company that's like it. So the planes are being ordered and they're making them. So I absolutely like it. I even like the SPY as the S&P moves back to 4,000, but don't stay in much longer after that. In fact, I like the SPY put when the S&P hits 4150. It's definitely going to be an interesting day. By the way, let's see where we are right now. Right now, the Dow is up 471. Okay, you can see that on your screen. It says 151, but again, that doesn't include yesterday. So the Dow is up 470, 471. The S&P is up 63, and the Nasdaq is up 163. So it's not bad. It's actually a pretty good day. All right, let's talk a little bit about crypto. So Bitcoin is about 21,000, right? So as I said before, it might go back one more time to 28,000 before it drops below 20,000 permanently. It went below 17,000 over the weekend, and I think it's too risky. Look, if you want to give it a try, just make sure you get out in time. I mean, look for 28,000. Just get out in time. If you get out in time, you'll be all right. If you want to make a quick hit, but this is not the buy and hold situation that it was when it first came out. It was brilliant when it first came out, and again, as I said before, you're not going to replace 180 fiat currencies with 19,000 cryptocurrencies. So unfortunately, they've destroyed it. All right, Ethereum is also around 1,100, and I also expect that to go to 600. That would be my play. I would play it around 600. Gold and silver, by the way, the precious metals, they have not moved. Gold is still right around 1850, and silver is right around 21, 22. They haven't moved in like 6 weeks. So they're going to make a move. Hopefully they're going to make a move up. But they're going to make a move soon, and it's going to be a big move because it doesn't make any sense that they're just sitting there. The Treasury bond is also about 3.25, and I got to tell you that that's not going to be for long. It's probably going to move to 3.5, and it's probably going to stay there, and it's okay. It's okay if the Treasury bonds move to 3.5. It's okay that the Fed raised interest rates. I told you this the other day. They raised interest rates. Right now, the rate is around 1.75, the total rate, the total Fed lending to the banks. And in 2018, I think it was either 18 or 16. It was almost 3. So who cares? All right, oil is also moving down at $1.10 average a barrel, and the average gas price moved down a cent to 4.96 a gallon. So once again, let's all in unison say, "Let's go, Brandon." All right, I want to remind you that today is Interview Tuesday for our online audience. Each Tuesday, we bring you a great interview with interesting people, and we introduce you to their products, their services, or just their good intentions. And of course, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can go to thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest. That's thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest. Let us know why you want to be interviewed, and we will set it up. Today we have Nancy Swartz. She used to be a trained ballerina, and now she uses that skill to coach others to keep peaceful. I think it's a pretty good interview, so stay tuned for this interview. I want to thank all the listeners on WWDB Radio 860 AM in Philadelphia. I want to thank you for your continued support, and if you're enjoying the show, please reach out and let us know. So you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on LinkedIn. So do that. Let me know what you think of the show. Of course, my name is Larry Steinhouse. I am the host of Money Chat Now. I'm also the CEO of Investor Schooling. And of course, you can contact me directly if you'd like to. You can go to contactlarry.com. That's contactlarry.com. You have to spell that out, contactlarry.com. It won't come up in a search. All right. Also, don't forget, as I've said before, order my book. Go to barnesandnoble.com, order Money Hacks. And also, you should know, from time to time, I own some of the assets and options discussed in the show. And of course, the opinions discussed in the show are solely mine, and no one has asked me to discuss them. I was joking. Some have asked me not to discuss them, especially on Tuesday. The girl after me at WWDB says she doesn't want me to. All right. Anyway, why don't you go have a great day and make it a profitable day. I'm Larry Steinhouse, and welcome to today's Money Chat Now interview. In this portion of the show, I take the opportunity to interview interesting people and introduce you to their products, services, or just their good intentions. Hey, if you'd like to be a guest on my show, you can go to thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest. That's thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest, and let us know why you want to be interviewed. All right, let me tell you a little bit about today's guest. My guest today is a classically trained ballerina. She embraced nuanced movements, discipline, artistry, and the importance of balance. She built several professional dance companies, focusing on the creation of new works with innovative programs and performances. She also built a not-for-profit dance studio. Although she is passionate about her dance career, she now embarks on the personal growth and enrichment arena. She currently coaches those who want to find peace, profit, and relaxation in this busy world. Hey, let's welcome Nancy Swartz. What's going on, Nancy?
Hi, Larry. Thank you and your team for having me today.
You're so welcome. I'm so excited to hear from you. So I talked about your ballerina stuff, so this is kind of interesting. So I want to know how we got from ballerinaism to, making people's lives better.
Well, I think a little bit along the way, a 30-year career in corporate. So I was a corporate leader in retained executive search. So love moving the pieces like chess, with the boards and placements. And it's very similar to moving parts on the stage. So I think the skill sets are very complementary, high level of discipline, right, and very intuitive, as well as practical and tactical skills. A lot of strategy involved, dealing with people, high pressure, high stakes in both cases. So both environments, I just thrive. I love it. I really do. And so that's what generated, when I retired from executive search, I really spent a long journey, 5 to 6 years, educating myself, trying to figure out, what is it that I want to go do in a bigger scale, right, by myself, to really have impact and be able to serve people. And I really didn't think about running another company because I kind of operated myself out because I had run my own company. I was a partner in a large global management company. And I thought, but then I thought, this is what I love to do. I love to run companies and I love to support and help people. And I feel there's a void in the marketplace where, common sense, we're missing a lot of common sense these days. And when you are, a high achieving executive, we forget that the head and the body and the soul kind of come together, and absent is sleep and nutrition and a few other important details. So I wanted to combine the elements in consulting of the health piece from a consumer point of view. I'm not a physician, but from a lifestyle point of view, right? In terms of building this proprietary process, and I have an educational tool that I've built around this. But also to have real questions about retirement and not in what we think about. And I think that if you do, my stuff is very science-based because I love that. And I believe that we're living in the future now with the acceleration of science and technology and longevity. And so we know that we're living 30, 40 years past our traditional levels of retirement. If you, exited out when you were 30 and 40 with a, software company or something like that, it's even longer, right? So how do we be very proactive to have all our systems really in integrity, right? That's really what we're looking for the quality of life. Okay. And defining it as we want.
I got to wind you back a minute because you're moving a little bit fast. I want to just catch up a little bit. So first of all, you were a headhunter, and you were actually the headhunter, or you were in charge of headhunters?
No, I wasn't a headhunter. Okay, I worked in retained executive search, which is a very different thing.
Oh, wow. What's the difference? Because I actually used to be in that business, and they used to call me a headhunter.
Right. So we're hired by global multinationals to search for very high-level roles.
Wow, that's great.
So it's a very strategic and research-based market survey. We're changing the dynamics of a company by bringing that executive in generally.
Oh, that's great. So you would you would replace people in Twitter. So maybe you'd bring in Elon Musk.
I never worked for Twitter, but that's a possibility in my dreams. Absolutely.
Got it. just trying to get a good feel for it. So then you were also you're also a ballerina. So when you were ballerina, I mean, you were kind of doing that on the side, or you were actually being paid for it? How did that work for you?
Oh no, I was classically trained and worked in professional companies,
that's awesome.
And then made the change into going into business. Yeah.
Okay, so that was the beginning. Then you went to business. So now and then apparently from what you just said, you retired from the executive search business, correct?
That's correct.
And
yes.
Now, how exactly do you help people?
Well, I went out and educated myself from the top global experts in health and retirement. And from that, over the last 5-6 years, I've built a proprietary process. So it's a 12-week program based in pillars of personal growth. What will we do with our time, right? There's a tremendous time element here.
I actually opened up a school where I teach. I was bored. I opened up a school where I teach people how to make more money, and I started doing these shows every morning. That's what I did because I was bored. So, but I'm curious. So you got a lot of people. They're retiring. They're bored. They don't know what to do, and you're giving them advice on what to do, or is it complete transformational changes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is transformational in as much as when you leave an infrastructure, right? So from what you were doing, oftentimes there is just an unknowing, a questioning, not really sure where to go. Very few executives really have a directive maybe they want to go build another company, or like you built this podcasting and you have your school and many other things that you've got your hands in, which is fabulous. But a lot of people are very lost, become fearful, and that leads to not such great behavior. And so it's an identity shift, behavior and habits shift. So it's a massive transformation. But what I do is I partner, I support this person. So we dig very deep down into what is the client's why. Truly, what is that why? So I talk about that as the envisioning part. And then we actualize smart action steps for that individual to get there, right? I run it like a business, right? So it's a white paper. We look at the envisioning, we look at the planning, what are the action steps that will get this person to realize, to actualize their dreams and goals. And that's just getting on the road. And then the road just takes off with that person. Because generally these executives like yourself have significant skill sets, right? But they're just in other areas now that we're wanting to develop, right? So it's just pointing the system, orienting, and my job is to really give perspective and to challenge and hold accountable, because it's very easy if you're by yourself to kind of sit back. And I think that, like you're doing in this podcasting, you're serving the world for a bigger purpose. This is bigger. Your podcasts are actually bigger than you. Really, you're the pivot, but you're reaching global.
It's not bigger than my jacket, though. Just keep that in mind.
Well, I love the jacket, though. You have to keep the jacket, definitely.
So, all right, so people, they're looking to retire now. I also coach people. I coach people mostly financially, but you mentioned something that's interesting. You mentioned something about somebody's why, and this is something I come across all the time. That what's your why? And it's funny because you get the people who think their why is supposed to be, oh, my children is my why, oh, my husband is my why, I just want to go travel is my why, and it's never the why. That's just something that they say. That's the facade they put on. So now it sounds like you've got people who are retiring, and they were looking for the day they retired for their entire life. They maybe worked a job maybe it's the same job for 30 years, and now they're retired, and they kept saying they can't wait till they retire, and now they're retired for 3 days, and they go, what am I going to do with myself? And that's the fear that I have. I actually was sort of retired for a couple of months, and I couldn't stand it anymore. I always make the joke that I couldn't watch any more Dr. Phil. It was terrible. So so now I'm so busy that that weekends I can't stand weekends now because I'm not at work. That's how busy I've made myself. So, but how do you help somebody find what they really should or really want to do?
Well, that's digging down to the why, right? So I don't stop with what's your why. I dig till we are in China practically. So there's always other factors that aren't necessarily apparent, right? And in this time frame as well, we're looking at first-time health issues, usually with people. So we're changing a lot of fundamental building blocks: sleep, nutrition, movement, mindset, changing someone's belief systems. Often it's attached to a company or their values, their strengths, their perceived strengths, and what I see as a strength. Because in my former world, I interviewed leaders, global leaders, right? So I'm very, very lucky that I have and love and have an appetite for people and seeing their beauty, right? And being able to point that out, which may not, some people are very unaware, right? They're very unaware of themselves, and some people are very granular. They are very aware, but they want to move in different directions. And how do I transport those skill sets that they've owned, right? They've led companies for 35, 40 years to something, maybe it's philanthropy, or maybe it's some kind of other service, academia, something like that. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, Nancy, hold on 1 minute. We're going to take a quick break, and when it come back,
Okay.
and I'm going to ask you some more really important questions, and we'll be right back. Hi, I'm Larry Steinhouse, and I've written a book called Money Hacks. The subtitle to this book is Because Everything You Think You Know About Money is Wrong, and I promise you there are things you think about money that are wrong. There are chapters in this book that I think you will find absolutely fascinating, and some of them are, what is money anyway? Can money buy happiness? I'll bet you don't know the answer to that question. The truth about credit scores, how you can actually use credit cards to rebuild your credit. I also have chapters on being your own bank, how to buy houses with an IRA, and how to invest with other people's money. There are so many other chapters. There are 22 total chapters in this book, and I promise you're going to learn how to make more money and pay less taxes when you buy this book. My name is Larry Steinhouse. The name of the book is Money Hacks. You can get this book wherever fine books are sold, and you can go to barnesandnoble.com right now and pre-order it. I hope that you will enjoy it. Chat now. I'm your host, Larry Steinhouse, and we have been in the middle of an interview with Nancy Swartz. And Nancy is kind of cool. She's talking about how she helps executives change their life after they retire. And I got to tell you, I'm interested in knowing a little bit more. So let's get back to this interview right away. All right, Nancy, let me ask you a question. So now you got somebody who retires, right? Why do they come to you, or how do they come to you even?
Oftentimes they are depressed or unsure of what to do next. I know from myself, having been retired, that I was extremely exhausted. They're not making good decisions. I always say, please don't take a board seat. Please don't do a massive investment. Please don't divorce your wife or your husband. Please don't make massive moves. Or move your home, across the globe somewhere. You got to settle first, right? And settling takes a while, right? Settling takes a while to get to know yourself again. So I've built this educational tool for my clients that they really love. And I talk about, in the financial world, we're always about, okay, saving our pennies. We've got our financial instruments of, for us, the company-driven programs. All over the world, they're similar, not quite, but they're similar, given the governments and the regulators, et cetera. But what I say is, hey, the companies don't help you, the human or the individual, retire. They help you in cash flow, but they don't help you in understanding who you are. So the first thing I say to the client is to plan you, right? Larry, you and I have planned this conversation. You plan your weekends even, you're telling me. You plan, your team, your schedules, etc. But rarely do we sit with ourselves and sort of get to know ourselves again. Because how you were, Larry, yesterday versus today is very different. But you honor that, and you honor that for you and your team and your leadership. But oftentimes people have forgotten that. They've left that behind, right? And then I suggest sit in that ownership, right? So when you're a leader, you have to own whatever the situation is. But if we, again, look at it from an individual point of view, thinking about owning all your decisions and none of this name blaming, pointing fingers, this happened, that happened. You are responsible for all of you, your mind, your body, your soul, your actions, etc.
I absolutely agree with that. I teach that all the time when I'm coaching people. I agree with that 100%. But I'm trying to figure out how, so there's somebody who retires, and I guess, are they all executives that come to you, or can it be just the average, even maybe, line worker? Would they come to you as well?
Yeah, I think somebody who, I do work with professionals, so, that would be, doctors, teachers, yes. Mm-hmm.
So a doctor retires, And then how does he find out about you? Is that a referral source, or is it that you reach out to him? Because I can only imagine. Like I said, I was home for a couple of months. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I needed to do something else, and I started to do this. And the next thing you know, I opened a school. I started doing podcasts. I'm up here. I'm in my office now at 4 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes I'm in the office until 10 o'clock at night. And just to take up some time, but I wouldn't have known to call somebody and say, hey, before I change my whole lifestyle again, what can I do? So why is there a certain search that people do? Is there doctors that send them to you? Is it psychologists that send them to you, or do you go out and try to find your own client?
Well, I have a network of people that I've worked with over the years in the search business, right? And then I have wealth management companies that I work with as well. So my business is exactly what you said. It's referral based, right? So I don't do marketing or it's not a sales job. And I want to say that very specifically to you and to your audience, because for me, the person has to want this transformation. And if they are not willing to do the work, as you know, it's a lot of soul searching, absolutely. Right? And I'm sure every day you're tweaking things and working on things. It's not going to be successful, And so I don't want to start with somebody who is not committed, because I'm 150% in. I'm not 100%. I'm 150% in, because I want this person to be successful. Yeah.
But these people, some of them, they don't even know what they want. They come to you to go, I'm coming to you because I'm depressed, I'm bored. What do I do next? How do you start them into number one, you're gonna have to. I realize you're not in sales, but you have to sell them your program, or you have to sell them your time, whatever it is you're doing. So what is it that you say to them that says, hey, listen, let's talk. Let me see if I could fix this for you. Do you have a specific criteria of somebody you work with, or a specific concept of what you try to let someone know if they want to come to you?
Right. So as I said, I have a 6-pillar platform, which I talk to them about, and I always ask them, how's it going? And it's not going well. So, what are the changes that they want to...
Okay, I'm bored and I'm tired of watching Dr. Phil every day. How can you help me?
So is that what you want to do all your life?
Well, absolutely not.
Okay. So we have to figure out a schedule, a calendaring. We have to work on your health. How is your health? I don't know. How are your relationships? How are your communities? What are you curious about? What have been your strengths? What are you envisioning could be something? It's putting together the pieces, basically. And building the foundational blocks that will support this massive transformation. Most people aren't sleeping. They do not eat well. Communication is often lacking. Because they're all of a sudden having to talk about themselves, which is very personal. And if you live in the corporate world, what sounds like you have, it's not about you. It's about the company, right? So to be able to switch that gear and verbalize to put yourself first, right? Because time is a limited resource. You know that, and we all know that. But this is really a reckoning, right? It's a reckoning of, ooh, better get moving here, as you have done,
I really enjoy my life. I'm trying to get an idea, have somebody come to you and say, hey, how can Nancy help me? This is how she can help me. This is what she can do. That's the kind of concept. I'm struggling a little bit with how you're actually getting clients. It's interesting because I guess, when we're trying to do role playing on this podcast, it's probably a little more difficult, and I put you on the spot. I realize it, but I'm just wondering, do you even have a 30-second elevator pitch to give someone to say, hey, this is why they should talk to you?
No, because I listen to the client. The client tells me what they're interested in. Mindful, they've been referred by somebody who's had this transformation, right? But humans are unique, right? So there's no other Larry out there, right? You are unique unto yourself.
The world's very happy about that, by the way.
So that's it. But they may say, I love Larry's blue jacket, so I would like some of that, and I would like, so they'll start to envision where they want to go, and it's very possible where they thought they wanted to go could change. And you know that from your clients, what they think and what actually actualizes could be something totally different, right?
Absolutely, and it's funny because when I start to drill it down, and I'm sure you've experienced this too. When I start to drill it down, I realize that what they say they want isn't even close to what they really want. But they're just so used to saying that, or society wants them to say it. Like I said before, what's your big why? My children are my big why. Now, it doesn't mean that that's not true. It just means most of the time it's not, which is funny because I'll find that where society makes them say that, or makes them feel that they should feel that way, and then they'll say it. So I often try to get past it and try to make them understand. I also have another complete philosophy about how selfish everyone is, and how that's probably the greatest thing to talk about. However, this is your interview, not mine. If you ever want to interview me, I'll talk to you about how I think it's great to be selfish.
Well, I just talked about that. I've just said, finally, I, myself, Nancy, can put myself first, because my whole life has been in service of other things, right? In terms of companies, programs, products, leadership, the full Monty, right? But now I'm important, right? And so it's a shift of thinking, right? It's a shift of thinking. And setting up really clear boundaries, people that some people have a very hard time. For instance, I've been working with a gentleman, and immediately upon retiring, he said, I was so fearful my phone wouldn't be ringing that all these board calls came in, and he took everything. And I'm like, what are we doing here? And I let him talk, and I said, so how's it going for you? Well, I don't really like this company, and I'm at odds with that one, and blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, we need to dissect this, because this is not going to serve you. And removing somebody from a board is very challenging, particularly if private as well as public, for whatever reason, and it'll tarnish the person. And it's not, what's the word? It wasn't purposeful. He just was like so excited that somebody was calling, right? That he would arrange all of this. So step slowly, step carefully, right?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so let me ask a question. How can people get a hold of you? How can they find out more about you and what you can do for them?
Thank you. So my website, I think, is the easiest place. It's envisionhealthyretirement.com. Again, I'll say it one more time. It's envisionhealthyretirement.com.
Okay, great. And you're also on Facebook, and you're on Instagram and LinkedIn as well?
Yes.
So I'll bet your LinkedIn page is pretty strong, because in the executive search business, everyone's looking at LinkedIn for jobs, correct?
Not in my world,
but
I think my page is pretty strong.
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, make sure you look me up, and we'll certainly connect.
Great. I love to do that.
It sounds like fun. All right. Is there anything that you want to leave us with? We got about a minute. Anything you want to leave us with?
Yes, I want to encourage everyone to change their thinking, because my mission is to disrupt the way you think about retirement, and to think of it as a white page that you get to create, that it's very exciting, it's very challenging, and really honestly, with the tools and the mindset, you really can do anything to either change the world for you, globally, locally, your family. So it's a wonderful time to expand your wings.
Sounds great. All right, Nancy, I totally appreciate it. I want to thank everyone else for watching the show. My name is Larry Steinhouse. I am the host of Money Chat Now. Money Chat Now is live every morning at 7:30 a.m., and you can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. And of course, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can actually go to thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest. That's thelarrysteinhouseshow.com/guest. Let us know why you want to be interviewed, and we will do what we can interview you. Hey, I really hope you enjoyed today's interview with Nancy Swartz, and I hope you guys tune in again and make it a profitable day.